Hey everybody, welcome back to the St. Louis Cardinals franchise. After about a week and a half since the previous episode, with college football and Madden out, obviously I've been dedicating a lot of time to those games, but I'm not going to be spending a lot of time inside of Madden right now for new series. I might work on some things here or there, but right now I'm focused on this series along with the Miami Hurricanes here on the second channel. We're still going to be doing a lot of baseball, and we're in the middle right now of a really exciting season for our Cards. We are way out in first place right now, 7.5 games up on the Brewers, taking 3 out of 4 against them in a previous series not long ago. I believe that was like last episode. But as I get back into the swing of things with this series, I do want to talk about some players that are trending up and some players who are trending down. First thing I'm looking at is how players are performing against left-handed pitching. We'll start with a player who is trending up, and that is our Elvis Martinez, hitting .375. That's 8 at-bats. It is not much, but we are seeing development to his hitting ratings against lefties, and that's already a strength of his. Given our issues lately with the DH role against lefties primarily, I'm wanting to see what he can do given that opportunity. Now, at the end of last episode, we also spent some time talking about Darl Marino. Are we going to see his debut anytime soon? I think there's a pretty good chance. 77 overall right now, and with his combination of power, his lefty mashing ability, I think he's going to be really useful to us chasing a championship this year. The dilemma I'm kind of in right now is obviously when you're in a situation like we are, trying to win a championship, you're more so thinking about what you can do at the trade deadline and what veterans you can add. We do have enough budget to go make an addition, likely somebody who is still pre-free agency. Where my head is at right now is I want to leave that money set aside in case there's a major injury that we have to react to. Say somebody at a spot like short gets hurt. If Perdomo gets hurt, we don't have like another shortstop I'm ready to slot in there as an everyday starter. But I think when it comes to just trying to add another bat, we already have guys like Gorman and Donovan, and then Jorge Soler was brought in. He had a hot streak. That's cooled off, is now in the distant past. I really think that Darl Marino is probably the best player still for this role. Because to get comparable hitting ratings for a veteran, you're going to get a player that either needs a big contract and is likely close to one, or they're already going to have that deal. And I also think just the upside is so much greater if you hit on a top prospect versus hitting on a trade. Marino's ceiling is still far beyond what he's shown to this point, whereas a veteran's going to be a known commodity. I think Marino's going to be ready to make an impact when his name's called. Somebody else who is trending up, by the way, we got Masyn Winn, who has been one of the best all-around players at AAA. And, you know, these players who have these, like, false starts at the bigs where they don't quite figure it out their first stint, don't quite figure it out their second stint, they usually don't figure it out. But Masyn Winn, getting +6 to contact against lefties, he's gotten all-around development this year to 79. Players like him are often afforded a lot of chances, and we could see him return again. Now, how about some players who are trending in the wrong direction? Let's talk about Brendan Donovan, who's been an on-base machine for us in the series, and you know he still is. He's probably walking even more if his on-base is holding despite a 30-point drop in his batting average. He's struggling this year, mostly against lefties. This menu, for some reason, doesn't include the splits. But as we can see here, only hitting .226. He's become a bit of a platoon player this season with that drop and with how much power we can put in the lineup against lefties instead. That's kind of what I've been opting to do. It's really nice having the combination of Donovan and Gorman on this team because Gorman solves all the weaknesses that Donovan has against lefties, and they play the same exact position. It does feel inefficient, though, to take a .360 on-base player out of the lineup any day. But we still have a .370 on-base player in Geraldo Perdomo, And this is giving us a chance to play Gorman, obviously, and then maybe see what our Elvis Martinez can do as we try to develop him a bit further. Now, when we get to the postseason, Donovan's probably going to be, an everyday player. It's just managing things differently throughout the season with hot and cold streaks, trying to win as many games right now while also growing the roster. There has to be some give and take. And when you have a 7.5 game cushion in the division, you can afford to make these kinds of decisions. So at 47-21, let's continue on now with the season as we immediately drop this game 6-0. Tink Hence is somebody else to keep an eye on here as he's not had nearly as strong of a season. We've been over the declining K rate and the accelerating home run rate. That's never going to be a good thing. So the episode is going to open with a 3-game losing streak as none of these games have been close. So Hence, Lesko, and Cease all give up at least 5 runs in 3 straight games. We come back the next day, though, and Corbin Burnes gets things back on track with a shutout win against the Pirates, where Burnes does go the full 9 innings. Lars Nootbaar stays hot, by the way. He has been unbelievable coming back from injury. I checked out the OPS numbers at the beginning of the episode. I couldn't believe a 1,200. It is a small sample, but it's not like a small sample of 30 at-bats. It's 76. And the guy's homered in almost half the games he's played this year. Cardinals bounce back with 3 straight wins. Here's a 10-3 victory over Seattle with a trio of multi-hit performers. Gorman goes yard in the game, and Tink Hence has a much more effective outing. We're entering a critical situation as Wilson Contreras is batting in the 7th. Here in Arizona, we're down 5-3. Shane Bieber having a really strong outing. And Contreras riding a 10-game hitting streak. That's not the main focus for me, but rather trying to see if we can stay hot and pull off a little comeback late. Flied to center. That was squared up decently, but did not get all of it. Yeah, that was just a little player lock situation, so I didn't get to play the rest of that one. We lose 5-3 to the Snakes. Shane Bieber goes 7 with 8 strikeouts. We might be getting to the MLB draft today as well. I haven't talked about the prospects very much. Here is Stefan Visperis. He has jumped up to number 4 on our big board. He was the 30th ranked on the MLB. We're looking for good first-round options, and perhaps he could be one of them. Putting together a pretty strong episode, we win here against the Angels behind a pair of Nolan Arenado homers. Our Elvis Martinez also goes yard, getting the start as the DH. Lesko goes 6, only giving up 2. And then we take the series from the Angels with a triple plus a homer from Luis Robert. Corbin Burnes, 5 1/3, 4 runs allowed, not great, but Ryan Helsley, save 24. He's been one of the best closers this year. And we run into another series with Milwaukee, and the standings haven't changed much. We're now a game further ahead, 8.5 up. We'll see if this ends up being a true division race this year. Our lead is pretty large right now. And we're going to get Lars Nootbaar into the action in this one. I'm just enjoying his dominant play so far this year. Numbers are coming down a bit. You can't maintain a 1,200 OPS forever. I always bite on that one, especially lefty-lefty. And that can't feel good. Over at third, the play is made. Cardinals on the board thanks to a Martinez double, and then we were able to drive him home, but the Brewers now with 2 on in the 4th. Joey Wiemer at the plate as that's lifted. Probably going to try to run here. That's a far throw to third. Brewers will get first and third here in the 4th against Nestor Cortez. And then a single plus a walk, and they're not done. If they're to have a chance, they need this guy to turn it on here. He has not put up good numbers. Jackson Chourio, bases loaded here in a 1-1 ball game. Can Cortez get out of trouble? Line towards Lars. We're going to have a play going home. That throw on a hop is not in time as Milwaukee takes the lead. Right field, and that's going to be extras. Nootbaar into the corner, and that is a one-out double here off John Means. And now we get a look at our Elvis Martinez. 19 RBIs with 3 homers. And he's going to punch this into right field. My initial instinct was that's probably dropping, but I don't know if I would have been able to score on that anyway. And then we have a guy who's really struggled. And maybe if we had anything here at the deadline, it's not another power bat for a team that has power, plus some in the minors, but it could be an outfielder. Out at second, Carlson beats it out. Not a pretty way to get an RBI, but it works. As much as I like Steve Padilla, if you're going to have someone starting out there on a playoff caliber team, they got to play defense. You know, if you're a rebuilding team, maybe you just deal with poor defense in the meantime, but trying to be the best in the league gives you slimmer room for error. Home run, Nolan Gorman. I hope I'm playing the derby with this guy soon. I haven't gotten a home run derby all series. 4-2 St. Louis. We jump back in bottom of the 5th. Good try, John. Just in front, and that's probably not even reaching the seats. Unfortunate. Home run for Encarnacion Strand to make this a one-run ball game. Starters still routinely going deep into these games, and for Cortez, it'll be another 6-inning showing. I imagine that could be it for him today. William Contreras, one of the best players here in the Milwaukee lineup. One-run game, top of the 8th. And that one is going to drop in front of Lars. It's a base hit off of Anthony Bender. Bender comes back to strike out the next 2. And now Encarnacion Strand trying to continue the 8th. Line toward Nootbaar. He'll make the catch. And the lead will go into the 9th inning. Let's see if we can add anything on here. A 1-for-3 day to this point. 8 homers in around 30 games played for Lars. And we're taking 2 low strikes to begin this at-bat. Nearly had that one. Slider a bit elevated. Evan Phillips has 27 saves, it says down below. So Helsley is on his heels, but no longer in first. One ball. Nasty curve from Bradley Blaylock. Helsley enters in the 9th inning and immediately gives up the lead. A walk and a double. This game is not over until a 3-run bomb ends it. Luis Robert walked us off last episode and does it here in this player lock game as well. We do lose the following game to Milwaukee, so the lead doesn't quite reach 10 games. 17 hits, 9 runs for the Brewers. A lot of that damage coming against Tank Hentz. So often in these playoff runs, I go down to a 4-man rotation, and if that happens again, it sure looks like Hentz would probably be knocked out of the rotation. Similar ERA we're seeing to Dylan Cease. What's his story this year? ERA is inflated. We are seeing more home runs. You know, when a guy slumps, that's often the big reason why. He's giving up a lot more home runs than he did the year before. He's pitched basically half the innings to the previous year, and last year gave up 24 homers. It's been 18 this season. For whatever reason, we're giving up a lot more homers as a staff. Milwaukee can't take the finale, though, when we win another series against the Brew Crew. A pair of homers from Dylan Carlson that will definitely help. Checking in on Darl Marino again. He is still red hot at AAA with a .344 average, 10 homers, a 1,000 OPS. there isn't a whole lot more for him to accomplish this year at the lower levels. There's been a lot of winning here in the month of June. We're going to just go through some of these series really quickly, given the massive lead that we have right now. Is that another 2-home run day for Dylan Carlson? All right, I'm in. Randomly turning on the power. He can feel the pressure as I talk about adding additional outfielders. That's all I got to do is threaten to replace players and they'll all of a sudden play great again. I have definitely not played here in San Diego in a while. Sinker is in there from Patino. What inning we in here? Top of the 8th. Got him on a circle change. Strike 3. But another multi-home run day for Dylan Carlson. That is a win in San Diego. I'm assuming his numbers have to be looking much stronger. And he is getting development. This is always the conflicting thing. Like, his ratings look promising. He tends to develop at least a little bit. And so I'm always holding out hope that, like, things are about to turn around. And at least for this week, they certainly have been. Victor Scott, he's been one of our worst players this year against lefties. That's why his contact is down 3 points. I've just been platooning these guys. Scott, 295 on base, 15 stolen bases this season. But will there be a transaction here, or at least a reshuffling of things, like Donovan becoming an everyday outfielder again? Looks like he's having a really good episode. The lefty stuff is getting really bad. That's a -6 contact, but a 387 on base. Yeah, I know he doesn't have range in the outfield, but hard to say we're not better with him out there anyway. We're going to take a little detour down to AAA as Benny Matsumoto pitches today, and he just got up to a 73 overall. His home run prevention is an elite skill. The main thing I'm waiting on is for the K rate to get into a point where I think he's going to be able to play at the bigs. If I had to ballpark his MLB ETA, next year, I think his skills will be ready, but will there be the spot in the rotation? So if we were to look to make a big trade, obviously, like, Matsumoto is one of the most valuable players we could look to, but he's one of those guys that I think is too good. Like, he's an untouchable prospect to me, especially given the shape our roster is in right now. Like, we have an abundance of talent at the moment. So I wouldn't really be thinking of Matsumoto helping us put on that finishing touch. Bad throw there by Padilla. Whenever I'm managing these series, I always think about it from like a long-term view and as if I'm going to still be playing many years. And I don't know how much longer the series is going to go, but I imagine we're going to see Matsumoto at the majors sometime. Nice stop, Soto. Don't get anybody, though. Here's Matt Wallner as the St. Paul Saints have 2 on already. Wallner's had really good numbers. Twins should probably look at calling him up. Oh boy, 3 straight singles and Padilla doesn't have the arm to defend this. You know, that wasn't half bad. Benny Matsumoto in some trouble here in the first inning. We need some swing and miss stuff now. That's exactly what I was thinking right there. Good change-up under the zone. Now can we get that strikeout? Got him! It's the change-up for strike 3. Line to right center, down for the 4th hit of the inning. And a pair will come around. So it's not just the strikeout rate. His hit per 9 rating is also fairly low. Like, he's one of those pitchers whose overall is weighed heavily just because his strengths are so strong. But things like hit per 9 and K per 9, you wouldn't really consider to be major league ready. He has a 73 overall, so on the surface it might seem like he's ready. That's because stamina and home run per 9 are so good. It just doesn't end. Austin Martin now with a base hit to center. And it's 3-0 St. Paul. And the command hasn't always been that great either. So I guess, what we're seeing on field here fits what I'm talking about. It's not time yet. We're remaining patient. He's not ready. I think he will be ready within a year or two. But in the meantime, I'm still not realistically thinking about trading him. But this is reality. You're going to see players have great games, but especially developing players are going to have bad days like this. Strike 3 on Kelly, as the Saints will hit all 9 here in the inning. When he reaches back, he can hit 94, but when he's hit that higher velo, it has not been anywhere close to the zone. That was a great pitch. Why did you have to fight that one off? It's already a 30-pitch first, and we continue on with the battle. Got him at 92. It's finally over. Wanted to take some at-bats as well with some of the most notable AAA players. Here is Steve Padilla. As a hitter, he's probably Major League ready. 276 average, leads AAA in home runs this season. And a 3-2 count on Padilla. Lined and drops right in front of the shortstop, out number 1. But when is Mason Wynn returning? Because these numbers are not going to keep him at AAA forever. Definitely a prime September call-up. I feel like I need to get Darl Marino on the 40-man at the same time so that he is going to be playoff eligible. I know that if I wait until September call-ups, it's actually too late. I've ran into that issue before. But a 3-1 count with Marino on deck. Big cut there by Wynn. And ball 4 brings up Darl Marino. How much longer is he going to be down at Memphis? There goes Wynn. Pitches by the catcher. I couldn't have timed that up more perfectly. And that is a stolen base. Come on, give me something to hit here. 3-2. It's a bouncer to third from Marino, a bit out in front. This inning has featured like 60 pitches combined. Adele lines it into center, and we're going to get on the board with a base hit. There goes Adele. It's a late swing, and we steal our second base of the inning. That was a good changeup. Both pitchers have to throw 30-plus pitches in the first inning. Let's see if Matsumoto can come back from it. Wasn't intending on playing this entire game or anything, but wanted a good look at a variety of players. Marino is there and takes the scenic route to first base. Now it's line toward right. Been the story of the day. Just keep finding the shallow outfield grass. We needed a call like that. I appreciate that. 2 strikes on Wallner as he waves and misses. Changeup feels like it's his best pitch today. Perhaps a fastball changeup guy is Benny, and it's a much better second inning. What's Norris Sullivan up to? I think he's been a solid AAA player. Norris Sullivan's probably going to be a 4A player throughout his career, and he'll get chances. Might not really do a ton with them all the time. Maybe he'll have a couple hot streaks in his career. That's how I see it playing out. He's like our Jake Cave. Grounded to the right side and beats out the throw. Benny isn't going to overpower with velocity. He needs to have better command if he's going to have good starts. I'm sure his command is mostly fine, but this is not a day where he's been able to control that fastball well. That's just unlucky. And that is just the story of the day. Austin Martin lines 1. Should allow a run to come home as he'll think 3 but stay 2. Let's see if that changeup, though, can be the out pitch once again. 2 strikes on McGuire, and they'll expand the zone for this changeup. Another one. That one bounced to the catcher. Good fastball, though. Upper zone, strike 3. Softly to right, and this one won't fall in. Padilla is there. Lifted by Wynn. I think he might have just missed this one, or maybe... Yeah, he did just miss it after all. Darl Marino finds the hole. That's a base hit. Good curveball to finish off the inning, though. What, they gave up on putting his whole name on the jersey? They just put W's Richardson? This is at least an opportunity to get a look at Reggie Crawford, the reliever I traded for. He is a reliever who can also swing the bat a little bit. And he's a lefty. He could be one of our next relievers called up when we're looking for a change. And it was nice to get a younger lefty into our system here. I haven't added many relievers throughout the series. Crawford is a fastball slider guy. Does have pretty good velo, mid to high 90s. And there is an elevated one that gets strike 3 on their leadoff hitter. Kind of like that he's more of an overpowering lefty. I feel like our other lefties have been kind of finesse guys overall. The single inning guys like JoJo, that guy can pitch. But I think he has a nice skill set that we didn't really have. That's going to be gloved by Wynn. No issue for him. Perfect slider. No lefty wants to see that one coming in. And then he nails the corner at 96. This is a pretty good showing so far. I can't believe he held back on that one. Who wants to see more of Reggie Crawford? Great inning. We're going to jump forward, bottom of the 6th inning. Steve Padilla already hit a solo homer when I simmed. Wow, the clouds look cool. And the bases are now loaded here in the 6th. Nailing the corner. Big strike for Alexi. And fooled by the slider. So it's all going to come down to Mason Wynn. Nearly had one down the line. And then strike 3. Really good comeback. It's been a while since we talked much about Ryan Fernandez, but he's putting together a really good season. I could see him making a return at some point, but our bullpen has just gotten so much stronger in the series with the addition of guys like Mason Miller, JoJo being as good as he is, Ryan Helsley. But could Fernandez be better than Michael Kopech? That's all you really need to do to crack the bullpen. Shallow left, and Sullivan should have an easy play. Soto at short with a smooth defensive play. Fernandez was so good in year 1. I thought he was going to become a mainstay when he was pitching well as like a 56 overall. But relievers are strange. Don't get too attached to relievers unless they're elite, because they will have a bad season and it will cost you games and you'll be confused. And after 2 outs, we got 2 straight hits. They're going to test the arm of Sully. Come on, Norris. Late night Lamont slides home safely. The Redbirds don't get a whole lot going in this game. It was just a rough afternoon overall, but we got a good look at a bunch of players, some of which could help us out in the near future. What do you think about AAA? and if any of these guys could make an impact for us at some time this year or next. Meanwhile, the big league club is 60-30. We have a 10.5 game lead in the division. That is the widest gap between first and second in the league. And we're approaching the MLB draft as we are taking another road series from the Giants. I'm getting some final scouting done on relievers, just something to finish it up with to have options in the late rounds. And then scouting players such as Darius Martinez, a lot of college experience players. What I'm kind of doing, though, is I'm scouting for like one session. If their draft rank goes up, as in like better, then I finish the scouting. If it doesn't, then they only get the one session. A 2-home run day for Lars Nootbaar. This guy is something else this year. We do lose, giving up 5 runs in the 8th inning, and that was off of Anthony Bender. The Braves now are deciding to offer us a trade as they're looking for JoJo Romero. I bet you'd like JoJo Romero. We're going to get into a critical situation against the Cubs. We haven't played a ton of big league baseball today. Want to get in some action before we get to the draft. Aurelvis Martinez, first and third here in a tie game. Can the rookie get us in front? Good curve, but not called. Another hot streak from the Marlins down below. They've had a really good season. Been in front of a lot of this slower stuff today. 3-1. Carlson on deck. Who would you rather face, the rookie or the randomly good Carlson? You never know what you're going to get. Flip foul toward the seats and out of reach. Runner from first can leave as the breaking ball is chopped over to short. The Cubs will stay tied, catching a break. So we're going to bring in Mason Miller here in a tie game. 50 innings on the season, 50 very good innings. Wow, Shohei had 7 RBIs in a game on the ticker. Christopher Morel, 99 in the fastball, 900 RBIs for Shohei. That one nearly... Oh, it is fair. That was strange. I have to see that again. I have not seen a ball go from foul to fair like that. Takes a hop. Why was that fair? That's in foul territory the whole time. Unless I don't know what I'm talking about, which very possible. Oh my God. If he's going to pitch like that, you don't even have to bring a bat. You're not going to have a chance. Cutter, nearly the same spot. Get him thinking about 100, and then he chases the changeup. Shea Langoliers with an even count. Miller trying to finish off the inning. Little erratic on his fastball. Yoan Moncada. All right, just switching Chicago teams, I guess. That's ball 4. Moncada quickly going down 0-2. Miller strikes him out to finish off the 8th. And now we look for an 8th inning lead to set things up for Ryan Helsley. Otherwise, they're getting JoJo Romero. Carlson had visions of a go-ahead homer there. Good curve, strike 3. Geraldo Perdomo having a very solid season, doing exactly what we wanted him to do when we acquired him. High on base, good batting average. Would we like more power? Sure. Is it required? Not really. And he's down on 3 pitches. Ben Brown, really tough in this outing. So Nolan Arenado should be back in the All-Star game. Ooh, curveball was right there on the inner third. Probably looks like I haven't played in almost 2 weeks. Just going to have to record more to get back into the groove. That's in. Ah, man, I'm just fooled by everything right now. This is what happens when you're not hitting with much confidence. We're going to the 9th inning. We're going to bring in JoJo. And it's going to be walk-off or bust. Got to get his innings up, so... When you can go in the late inning stages and have Mason Miller, JoJo Romero, and Ryan Helsley, that sounds like a world title bullpen. Adale Amador, how'd they acquire him from the Rockies? He just hammered this ball, but it's foul. Big slider incoming. It is strike 3. Popped up for Nolan Gorman. Romero doing his job. And now Cody Bellinger. It's amazing to think about how good his rookie season was. It's one of the craziest stat lines to look back at that year he put together. And then to think that he eventually just had to leave to a new team to figure it out on a prove-it deal. Stopped by Arenado, but not going to have a play here. Madrigal now, 0 for 4. 6 homers. That's impressive. 2 strikes and taking outside. Don't need this inning getting interesting as we approach 20 pitches. Perdomo at short, plants and fires. Inning over for JoJo Romero. And now we look for another walk-off. And what if it could be Luis Robert? Had one last episode. We simulated one already today. He is 3 for 4. And the Cubs are not changing pitchers. Wanted it right there. Strike 1. And then a fastball at the knees. 0-2. Ugly. Curveball in the dirt. It's just impossible to read a curveball that low for me. It just doesn't even, like, the further away it is, it actually is, like, more difficult than if it's on the corner. Because it just looks, it doesn't look right. So now you got 0 for 4 Gorman. 1 gone. And Brown's pitch count getting up there, 46. Gorman smokes it through the middle, base hit center field. Do we want to run? Hey, if we got Victor Scott on our bench and Donovan can play the defense, you have to do it. This is why Scott's on the big league roster. If he had 79 speed, he might be at AAA instead, but he has 99. First pitch, he's going. No shot. A base hit from winning this game. It's always tempting, to try to take third, but it's just not something I'm all that comfortable with. Lifted to left center field. Game over. Wilson Contreras, walk-off winner. And the Cardinals take down the Cubs. Got that breaking ball finally. Felt good. Saw it a little bit elevated around the belt. And a nice swing from Wilson Contreras. Another Cardinals walk-off. A lot of entertaining finishes, looks like, for the home crowd this season. Still wish it could have been Luis Robert with a home run. You can tell the team's in a good place when I'm getting picky about the way we walk off and win. The Braves are calling us up again. Alex Anthopoulos, what do you want now? Jojo Romero, you're not going to get him. The Braves are just being greedy because most teams don't even have a bullpen this good. Jose Alvarado, Yuki Matsui, you already traded for him. Jose Leclerc. I mean, come on. We're 11 up on the Brewers, by the way. The rest of this season might go along pretty quickly. We're going to get through the draft today. And then next episode, we got the All-Star break, whatever we do before the deadline, and then preparing for a hopeful postseason run. I think one or two more videos would probably do it unless there's a major event. The Rays are offering us a trade. The whole league wants Jojo Romero. What do you mean? You don't want to pay Marcus Simeon's $25 million salary? Why wouldn't you want to do that? The Twins acquire Andres Jimenez from the Guardians. There's an in-division trade. Had to give up a pretty good first base prospect and James Martinez. We just saw him in the AAA game that we were playing. Just checking on the futures game roster here as we had some players apparently in it. Steve Padilla was invited. Jesus Fernandez also invited. Where's Darl Marino? Fernandez is having a good season overall. +8 contact against lefties, really carving out his identity as a player. He can at least mash lefties. He's been a .350 on-base player, so very much work in progress. He's a .348 slugging guy. Very little pop in that bat right now, and he's many years away. But it's also his first professional season. This is pretty good progress in that time. But I think it's time now to add on to this program we got here at the St. Louis Cardinals. We have a great major league roster, a lot of great prospects waiting for their chance. What can we add now with the 24th, 32nd, 62nd overall pick? My entire goal was to get prepared for those selections so we can keep having options for bringing up more talent. So here's our draft queue right now. There's not a specific position I want. Starting off here with Vesperis, we talked about him earlier today. Looks like he's going to have really high potential, but have my doubts if he'll actually make it to our pick. Rodrigo Orojo, he is an 18-year-old center field prospect with 80 to 95 potential, 6th ranked player in the class. Richie Leonard now, we have a 4-year college experience player, 81 to 91 potential. He is a closer. He was in the last round of players that I scouted, because sometimes these closers will be available late first round. And because we have 2 picks in the top 35, thought it would be nice to at least have information on one of those closers that might slip. Gary Roberts, 19-year-old starting pitcher. Another option for us here, home run control, something that has to get a lot better for him. John Yokoyama at short. Ends up with 78 to 88 potential, a pretty high starting overall, and a well-rounded skill set. I really like him. And then there's Julian Welsh, who is only 18 years old, but also has a pretty well-rounded skill set. The arm could be stronger, but has high fielding right off the bat with a complete offensive skill set. Down here we got Luis Tapia, who has 76 to 86 potential, and a lot of his skill goes into his power and his defensive ability. Henry Cabrera, 73 to 92 potential, and he's a more defensive-oriented outfielder. So I think we're going to have some pretty good chances to add on to our team today, but we got to see who's going to be there. And getting the MLB draft underway, Steve Morgan is the top pick going to the Mets. Number 2 is Peter Reyes, a closer. Closer's going this early. That was more of an MLB 23 thing. That's the first time I've seen that in this year's game. And then it's Johnny Sandoval, first baseman, to the Nationals. But we select at 24, and I feel pretty good about options being there, as I don't even bother scouting most of the guys that are top 15. But in some cases, we have players like Visperis who go up to second on our board, and if he's there as the best player available, that'll be an easy selection. Rodrigo Araujo, also a really good riser on our board. I think those are the best two examples of that. And then Discovery gives you a chance as well. I think Discovery is more important, actually, the better team you are, because there's going to be so much competition ahead of you to get players, and you can't trade up. So Discovery is like the only way you're going to steal value as a playoff caliber team, I feel. Luis Tapia is off the board. He was 32nd on our board, 22 on the MLB, so a little early, but with that much power and defensive ability, certainly makes sense. And Visperis is off the board, going to Kansas City. Had to expect there was a good chance he would be gone. If he should go at 30, his true talent is 2. That's the way I look at it in Madden anyway. You know, you often split that difference. John Yokoyama, he's off the board. Thought maybe we could have someone with college experience fallen to us that would maybe have a 1 or 2 year runway to the majors. Rodrigo Araujo would definitely be the top guy for me right now. 6th on the board. High upside outfielder with great speed. Work in progress defensively. Julian Welsh at third base, though, would definitely be more interesting if he could play other positions. In our situation, like, I really value position flexibility. You gotta be kidding me, Diamondbacks. Absolutely sickening. There's nothing I could do but watch it happen, too. So, 24 overall. 12 is the highest we can go on the board if we want to take a closer in Richard Leonard. My hope is that he slides down to our next pick, but I don't know if that's likely. Colt Ross is available, but I think with him not being ranked, there's a better chance of him being available for our second or third selection. I think it's either Welsh or Cabrera, and they have similar potential ranges, 75 to 90 on Julian Welsh, 73 to 92 on Cabrera. I am going to go with Julian Welsh. I really like the well-rounded offensive skill set there. While Cabrera is a great defender, that plate vision to me makes me feel like his ceiling would not be all that high. Not nearly as high. Julian Welsh is our first selection. But who's going to be there at 32? It's a short wait. And I would definitely consider Richard Leonard. I have not spent a premium pick on a reliever in this series. And I think that we're in a position where it begins to make sense. We have, obviously, a closer currently getting older. Henry Cabrera just went 2 picks after us. This is an extra pick we got because of the success of Tink Hence winning Rookie of the Year. This is the prospect performance incentive selection we're getting. And I'm very interested in possibly adding a reliever. Just have to hold on for a couple more selections. The Phillies, the defending champions, they go in a completely different direction. So now it's just Boston, who already took one player I liked a lot. Don't make it 2. Vladimir Guillen. They go closer. They tried. But I think here, Richard Leonard, 81 to 91 potential. I think it's time for us to get a high upside reliever here, who probably wouldn't be that far away from making it to the majors in the first place. Richard Leonard is our pick. He was the only closer projected early that I scouted too, so I got super lucky that he happened to still be there. I feel really good about this pick already, or this draft. I'm going to sim to our next one. 62. Matt Grieve can make some sense here, just as the 35th ranked player on our board. A potential range that you gotta like. He was not ranked, so we had some good luck on our side with that. Matt Grieve is our pick at 62. The board is shrinking. I had a couple outfielders here I was hoping I could get, but now it looks like relievers. I only have a minute, too. There are more players that I've scouted. They just weren't in the top 100 board. I will add on another reliever here in Philip Maeda, who throws a 2-seam changeup, slider, and curve. Yeah, I had a lot of guys that were in that like 70 to 100 range that aren't available. So now I'm only seeing relievers pop up on my board. I don't want to take just a bunch of relievers here. I might have to just take a chance. We're going to select Christopher Rodriguez here just because that potential range is really wide. Hopefully we can get lucky with this selection. Then we're going to select Ricky Leslie at third base, a power-oriented switch hitter. And with our final pick, we'll go BPA on the board and Daniel Caruso, a reliever. So more relief help in this draft, and we'll see those potentials probably next episode. But that's going to be our draft here this season. Just one game to go until the Derby and the All-Star game. Let's take a look at the current standings then. For starting pitcher, you do have Corbin Burnes, who's been one of the best guys all season, a Cy Young contender, but might be behind the likes of Yuri Perez and Aaron Nola at this stage. For reliever, as good as our bullpen is, I'm not sure if we'll have anybody make it. Maybe Matthew Liberatore. Nice season for him. Mason Miller also popping up there. For closer, if they invite two, Evan Phillips, Ryan Helsley would likely be the guys. Jordan Walker, fifth and first base. That's not bad, but not going to get you to the All-Star game. At third base, Nolan Arenado should be there. At short, Perdomo is getting the fifth most votes. In left, it's Alex Verdugo. In center, Jake McCarthy. As Luis Roberts down here at like 6. And Ronald Acuna in right. For home run leaders, Shohei Ohtani, 33. Mookie Betts, 27. Man, for a while it looked like Gorman could be in the Derby, but he's not even top 8 in his own league. And the wait there continues. Luis Robert is tied with him right now. We'll simulate our final game of the season here, the first half of the year. It's a 3-1 win, series clincher against Miami. 65 wins for the Cardinals, big lead in the division. Fifth best batting average in all of baseball. Nobody at a 300 average, though, as Arenado's has fallen about 21 points today to 279. Runs scored, we are top 5. In home runs, we began today at 10. We do bump it up to 8th place. Team ERA, number 4, but only 3rd in the National League, as the Phillies and Dodgers rotations are both really nice. I think that's the only really intriguing thing now, is to really get us to the postseason and see how we stack up to those two teams. This division, you know, it could get interesting in the second half. We'll see if it does. It would have to start to turn quickly for Milwaukee with, I believe, our last meeting pretty much right out the break. 23, 22, and then 16 home runs. Still a lot as a team. Nootbaar also missed much of the first half, so he would have had far more if that never happened. 351 average. Almost an 1100 OPS. Now 154 ABs. The guy is on another level. Arenado fighting off regression as much as he humanly can. His numbers are still tremendous. Hopefully they stay that way. Jordan Walker getting his season into a pretty good spot. His numbers are very strong as we hit the halfway point. Jorge Soler, if he's gotten much playing time today, it hasn't amounted to a whole lot of production. He has a pretty big home run drought right now. None today, none in the previous episode. Geraldo Perdomo, not expected to hit too many home runs. His career high is 15, but still could threaten to set a new high there. I like these high on base players because they're so predictable. And he's already surpassed last year's WAR, so he's been a great player. But it comes down to what we look to do now with our outfield and how we handle like our Elvis Martinez. We have gotten him experience this year. That doesn't mean he has to stay at the bigs necessarily all season. 31 games, while you have Mason Wynn playing significantly better at AAA. I wouldn't be against a swap there, as we try to get this team in the best shape possible for the postseason. I think we have to just shore things up there and see, okay, is Wynn better than Martinez? If so, let's make that move. Is Darl Marino good enough to contribute? I think we need to learn that very soon. So if I add him to the 40-man, add him to the roster, I don't have to burn up an option or anything at all, and we could see if he's good enough to contribute now. He's shown us enough at Double and Triple A this season to show he's ready. If we just check out the trade block at this point, well, there goes one of my answers right there. Like, what outfielders are out there? And the Rockies have put Nolan Jones on the trade block. I'm not sure you can get him, though, without a very significant player in return. If we suggest it, yeah, it might take somebody like Benny Matsumoto. We just need to put ourselves in a position to compete with this level of pitching. Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Bobby Miller, as good of a top three as you're going to see, and you've still got Tyler Glasnow. Gavin Stone might be their weak link here, but he's pitched great this season. And we've been over the Phillies and how stacked this rotation is. We are going to get a chance to see the Phillies here, and I might prioritize doing some player lock games there just to get some reps against some of their pitching. And then we'll run into the Dodgers, looks like, in two series actually, in September, which might be good, playoff warm-up games. So what do you think we should look at doing now between now and the end of the year? Looks like we're going to win this division. Not saying it's a guarantee, but that's the expectation. Is there anything you think we should focus on shoring up before the biggest games of the season occur? Let me know down below in the comments, and if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. There'll still be a lot more baseball content on the way. I'm enjoying playing the game, and I really want to shore up my whole baseball process before looking at doing another series next year. So there's a lot I still hope to accomplish here with the Cardinals franchise. Take care, everybody. I'll see you in the next episode.